Greetings, this is Dr. C here, and I want to talk to you about agentic AI. Specifically, I want to take a look at CrewAI, one of the very popular agentic frameworks, and give you a sense of how to work with agents and tasks and tools, because that's the key to making complicated AI applications where agents working as LLMs can collaborate to solve more complicated problems. So when we look at a large language model, we know they're great, right? We talk to them, they give us assistance, they help us through sleepless nights. But the reality is they're great at chatting, but what else can they do? And that is where agentic frameworks come into play. So what CrewAI, as an example, and other agentic frameworks do is they give LLMs access to tools. So now the LLM is not a dummy, but it's part of a crew that can access tools and get real work done. So what I want to do here is going to want to walk you through how tools fit in to the framework of CrewAI. So a little background on CrewAI. It is an open source project developed by a single individual, Zhao Mora, came out in 2023. And the idea was to set up a framework where agents, essentially working as LLMs under the hood, each with specialized roles and capabilities, can collaborate to solve more complicated problems. Now, as I mentioned, each agent can be associated with a different large language model to support agent specialization. So as you know, on Hugging Face, you've got over 1,000 different large language models with different capabilities, different size requirements, and these can be mapped to the different agents that you may have in your CrewAI. And then there were later updates to the CrewAI framework in which tools became a powerful component of the framework. And that's what I want to concentrate on in this video. So let's take a look at our screen that shows you what CrewAI is all about. It's about agents, tasks, and tools that work together. So I want to step through this to give you a sense of how they play with each other. So what we really start off with when you're trying to solve a problem, you want to use artificial intelligence, you want it to have things done for you. And this is where tasks come into play. So under the hood, tasks are Python objects. So we're in Python land, but we're abstracting that away in many ways, just thinking about the tasks that need to be done. So tasks are Python objects. They describe things that need to be done, such as, very general, research the latest advances in renewable energy technology. That may be one of the tasks we want the agent to be able to do. Now, when we look at the agents are Python objects that have general goals. For example, a research agent job is to assist a large language model, work with a large language model, and work with tools to help satisfy their goal. So agents have very general goals, and tasks are much more specific about what we want to have done. So think of your agents as being an LLM with some other capabilities thrown in. If you look at the structure of the Python code, you'll see it's an object, and one of the properties of the agent is the LLM that it's connected to. Now, tools are also Python objects. So this is sort of an object-oriented framework. And within that class definition, within the Python object definition, is essentially a run method that will actually execute and do something. So this is how we get large language models to interact with the world, okay, through executable code. So examples. We could have a tool that will search the web for documents on a specific topic. That would be a certain kind of tool. We can have other tools that extract text from a PDF file. And there are a number of tools available to you and me through the CrewAI framework. So what I want to do now is to give you a sense of the tools that are available through CrewAI, as well as talk a little bit about how you can make your own tools. But in this podcast, I just want to talk about the tools that are available to you because it's the easiest way to work with Tools and CrewAI, and there are a good number of them. So here is from the docs.crewai.com website, available tools that you can just use, import into your Python code, doc search tools, code interpreter tools, a DALL-E tool for creating images, a docx so you can search through Word documents, read specific files, a few more. A GitHub search tool. You can go out and look at GitHub repositories and bring code and documentation in. A JSON search tool. Llama Index, we can look up tools that Llama has. A vision tool, you can create images with the DALL-E API, and a RAG tool for doing RAG work. What I want to focus on here is the Serper Dev tool, which is a specialized tool that lets you go out, search the web for specific topics. So I want to show you how to use that. So what I want you to take away here is that you do not have to write your own search tool unless you really need a very specific piece of functionality, because the tools that are available are very significant. So when you want to use the Serper Dev tool, you import from CrewAI Tools, you import the tool. And then within your code, you're going to create this instance of the Serper Dev tool that is considered to be a tool. Now, these tools are part of an object-oriented framework, so there's a lot of stuff built into them, which is the advantage of using these basic tools that come from the Serper Dev. So the key takeaway that I want you to get from this video is when you use one of the CrewAI tools, the integration of the tool with the agents is taken care of by the framework. So when we look at the code, you're going to say, how is this tool even being used by the agent? I'm going to kind of walk you through that. You can also write your own tool, as I mentioned. When you write your own tool, you're basically defining an instance of the tool class, but you need to specify the input parameters and the output parameters. And so it's a little more complicated than just using an off-the-shelf tool from CrewAI. So bottom line, most tasks can be handled by one of the CrewAI tools. So show me the code. That's where the truth is. So let's drill down a little bit and take a look at a Python program that uses CrewAI to solve a problem. So here we have some Python code that we can walk through and try to understand. It's a simple CrewAI program. We have two agents, we have two tasks, and we have one tool, the same Serper tool that we described earlier. And we've got imports. You need some API keys for the Serper and for the OpenAI. Here's a line right here, search tool equals Serper search results. That's all we do. We now have a tool. We don't have to do anything else. We also have two agents. Here are the two agents. We have a research agent and we have an analysis agent. So the problem is we want these LLMs to go out, search the internet, bring back information, and come up with an analysis based on that information. This becomes, this agent, this is the role. So the role is a research specialist. Its goal, and this is a general goal here, find the most up-to-date and accurate information on requested topics. And then there is a backstory property. You are an expert research specialist with years of experience in finding and validating information in online sources. Your specialty is quickly identifying the reliable data and summarizing it. Now, what does this sound like? This is a prompt. This is going into the prompt that is going to be fed into the large language model. Okay? And we have a list here, we have a description here of the tool that is going to be used by this agent. And it is the search tool that we get from the Serper search results class. We're creating that instance. Okay? Now, down here we have another agent. Again, its role is content analysis, and it's got a goal, it's got a backstory. Again, this is what we are feeding into the underlying LLM that sits behind this. Okay, and the default, we're not actually specifying the AI, but we're using the OpenAI LLM behind the scenes. Okay, now, here are the tasks. So this is how you would set up your problem. So your task has a description, research the latest advances in renewable energy. So now the task is becoming specific with very specific details. Again, this is going to go into the LLM. And here is the agent. This is our research agent. So we're associating the research agent, this generalized agent that sits on top of an LLM, as the entity that's going to take care of this task. And now we have the expected output, which is a detailed research report. This also goes into the prompt. Okay, so you have to think of it as this is setting up the LLM to do some work. The LLM that sits behind this particular agent. Another task, using triple quoted strings, use the research provided, create an analysis that identifies the most prominent energy, etc., etc. Okay, use your analysis, evidence-based. Who's going to handle this? This agent, the analysis agent, which we have defined above, and we are describing what the output should be. Okay, so we have a tool, we've defined two agents, we've defined two tasks. So now we set up the crew. This is where the crew of CrewAI comes in. So we define our crew object, we tell it who our agents are, and this is going to be the key. This is where things are going to get triggered. We have two tasks. In this order, we're going to accomplish the research task followed by the analysis task. And how does this happen? This line right here, crew kickoff. So crew kickoff is the code that will go to the task list, start to set the research task up to be executed. The research task sees that there is an analysis. Research task is going to connect to the research agent. And then in the research agent, go back up to our research agent, the research agent is going to be given the task. So it essentially says, okay, go to your LLM and give it this prompt. But hey, you have access to a tool. So this search tool, the Serper search tool, is going to be automatically triggered. That's what's kind of mysterious about some of this code. When I first looked at it, I was like, well, how does this tool actually get executed? All it says is that the agent has access to this tool. Well, this is where the LLM comes in and says, well, I guess I better execute this search tool. It seems to be a reasonable thing to do because the search tool actually has a bunch of information in it about what it can do and how it can find the answer. And so that's basically how it works. You execute the code with crew kickoff and it all magically happens. So here I have a little summary of what we just did. We've got a research specialist agent, uses the Serper search tool to look up the latest information, compiles the research report, then feeds it, will automatically get fed to the second agent running the second task, who will take the research output and create an insightful analysis. So this is your workflow. The final result combines the work of the two agents. And to use this code, you put your keys in, modify the research topic if you need it, and you run the script. So that is the story on the CrewAI agents. I hope that gives you an insight. Keep things simple and use the tools that are provided with CrewAI, and your life is going to be very simple and you're going to be able to get work done.